Hi everyone, my name is Annabelle Lugo, and the topic that I choose to talk today was misunderstanding of mental illness. Many times we let ourselves to be carried away by the stereotypes and stigmas that we see in the media, such as television, sometimes newspapers, social networks, and many others. Um, Those make us see things like different from the reality than they are. Um, Sometimes we think like we can see the sickness of the people the, in their face. So I have a question, or I did a question to myself, and I was asking like, what does a person with mental illness need to look like? Um, Many people think that to be mentally ill, the person must act or look crazy, but the reality is that mental illnesses affect each person in different ways. People with mental illness may look like an ordinary person. So I have a second question that I did made to myself. It is, what do we see in the media today? So, according to the media, and what they show us is that all mental illness are the same. That if a person is violent, it is because they have a mental illness or they are crazy. I was looking for an example, like for a good example, and I found two movies that they represent like a that they represent stereotypes and enigmas. And those are the movie called Shutter Island, and the other one is A Beautiful Mind. In those two films, you can see the stereotypes and the enigmas. In the films, we can see that people who have been diagnosed with schizophrenia are more are more violent than people who have not yet been diagnosed with schizophrenia. But it's, for me, this is only a stereotype. So I have I've I decided to formulate another question, and it was, are people with mental problems violent? Um, Mental illness is commonly the focus in the news as the primary cause for violent acts instead of considering other factors. But the truth is, people with mental health problems are more likely to be victims of violence and less likely to commit them. Okay, I try to make a picture of some common representation of enigma and stereotypes, um, because I think like the society and a lot of people think that all people with depression they are suicidal, and all people with schizophrenia, for example, they just like hallucinate a lot. And I think those are stereotypes that the media create and we just decide to believe. And I think those stereotypes exist because there is a misunderstanding about mental health, because society have very marked enigmas and stereotypes. Many people tend to understand that things are as we believe them to be, and we do not focus on learning. Stigma discourages us and do not allow us to seek the help that we need. Sometimes the society make us to put the barriers, like to see the barriers, economic or anything like that. Sometimes we don't want to find, like to look for the help that we need because we don't want to hear what other people going to say about us, because we're getting people about a psychologist maybe, or whatever we need. If we have a depression, we don't want to let anybody know because let we don't want like to open ourselves to them, because we know we need the help, but we don't want like the society to know we need that help, because we don't want them to make stereotypes about us. So the conclusion that I have is to remember that not everything we see in the media is true, and we are often misinformed. Let us We just need to let us remember that not all mental illnesses are the same. Mental illnesses manifest themselves differently in each person, and that there are many different types of mental illness, and a person with mental illness can be seen as an ordinary person, and many people with mental illnesses such as depression, anxiety, schizophrenia are carried away by today's barriers, which prevent them from seeking the necessary help. Thank you.